Abdeslam, I would like to return to you because actually what has the predominant kind of characteristic of these of the Arab Spring and the electoral transition process that happened, it has brought Islamist parties into power. And I would like to link this with I know you just contributed with a chapter on Morocco in the book The Islamists Are Coming, which was recently published by the Wilson Center and the U.S. Institute of Peace. Can you please give us a snapshot of your thesis, if you want, in that book? How do you explain this phenomenon that the Islamists are actually back in power in Tunisia, in Morocco, and now in Egypt? We don't know if they're going to be in power, but and also probably in Libya.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're the most organized political force in the country. When you have authoritarian regimes that repress political participation, you would find different avenues to participate in politics, and the Islamists have been the most, I think, committed, the better organized, the more entrenched sociologically in these societies. That being said, there are huge differences in each case. The Islamists in Morocco are different from Tunisia, and this you have heard before, and they are different from Egypt, and each country really has its own characteristics. I think in the end, I mean, the Islamists are going to be part of the power structure. The question, I think, for me that is really essential is how the Islamist parties that are willing to participate in the political process are going to, negotiate their way around other smaller radical groups. And they are more or less big, depending on the country. In Egypt, 25%, but Hezbollah is significant. In Tunisia, they are less important by numbers, but they are still vocal. I mean, there were demonstrations last week. There were attacks on artists. It is going to be really tricky how these Islamist parties are going to want to maintain their religious legitimacy while at the same time excluding or separating themselves from the more radical groups. Everything that I have seen, including the Muslim Brotherhood, in terms of their economic programs, what they say, it sounds like they are much more pragmatic. They know that Egypt needs aid. They know that social issues are going to be on the agenda. That they know that Egypt or Tunisia or Morocco, that these countries are dependent on some aid, and therefore they are not going to they can't afford to alienate Western society. Because I think there's also transformation, ideological transformation, not just necessities or dependence on the West, and that is, the Nahda in Tunisia is a very clear example. I think that they immediately said before the new constitution that they are not going to write that the Sharia is the source of law. Ghannouchi made that very clear. A new constitution is going to be drafted in October. We will see, but it seems to me that they are willing to work within a secular framework, even though they still say that the official religion of the state is Islam. They can have that as long as they guarantee some kind of basic individual rights, and they are not going to restrict the liberties and freedom of others. I also think that the role of civil society, we talk a lot about civil society, and I think that if you have strong civil society, very diversified, it's going to be much more difficult for Islamist parties to impose their agenda. I think that in Tunisia there is fairly well dynamic civil society, which is paradoxical given that they are also say in nature, but there are lawyers, there are artists, there are comedians, there is social base that's going to stand in the face of kind of religious restrictions. Same thing in Morocco. I think in Egypt there is such thing, but for some reason it has not been able to coalesce into some one single group to impose their views and to say, at least in the legislative elections and in presidential elections, they basically lost. And that's really a tragedy, as I said, because in terms of numbers, they are larger